Welcome to the Winning Balance podcast. Today I am met with the Michael Perry. Thanks for jumping on, dude.
Thanks for the invite.
Of course, dude. Michael, so when I first got into real estate in Utah, there was a short stint with a different company, but I'd say that I was raised at the Perry Group 100%.
You were?
It was 3 months at Utah Life. We'll say it out loud, but
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. But like the Perry Group was really like my home when I moved from Seattle, was trying to make my way. And I'll still say the Perry Group's the best place. Like if you're trying to get into production, if you're trying to, like the amount of people I've sent to you guys is crazy because I genuinely believe in your business model and how you bolster people. So there's a reason, even though I'm not with you guys, that I still respect you guys and I'm having you out here. So thanks for coming, dude.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. How long were you with the Perry Group? Was it a couple of years?
I think it was like a little over a year.
Then you left.
Yeah.
Broke my heart. No, but seriously, I remember when you came with like a band of people.
Yeah.
That's when I think for the first time that our name felt like it was out there, not just like I'd never cold call recruited people. But it was like, oh, maybe we are a little legit. So that just brought back memories.
Yeah. And it's sometimes you're in a place, in a team, whatever, and you think this is what's best for me, and then maybe I should just stick it out. But like in terms of like teams, the grass is greener at the Perry Group. Yeah. And it's scary, especially because I was doing so well at Utah Life in 3 months. I had like $6 million under contract and closed like between the two. And so it was like a big decision, but you guys, yeah.
I always do. I think the grass is greener, and this is for a lot of teams across the country. And then it's like, I think when you left to become solo, I'm like, the grass is greener. Where you water it is the classic saying, but I think I will always die on that hill of there's a lot of teams who take a lot of money from people. And it's no attack on anybody. But if you're a good real estate agent, you probably can do this on your own. And teams should realize that.
Yeah, 100%.
Either try and adapt with that person or let them go fly.
Before we dive into the bio, like when do you feel like it's right for someone to go on their own from a team?
Yeah, so mixed. Like some of my best friends are on the Perry Group today, and they will make like $500,000 to $1 million. And I think if you want to kind of own your business to where it's your name, you have the ability to create a team, whether that's an assistant setup or a couple team members, that's when I think it's right.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think for some people, it's never the right time. Like if they want help and setup. But I think we'll always have that conversation. And you probably felt that. And I think like I have friends that come to mind that if they ever want to leave, like I will be the last person to say, hey, stay here. Like, let's talk about it.
Exactly. And that's always been an easy conversation for us, which I've appreciated. And there are freaking killers at the Perry Group. Yeah. So it's not to say like anyone on a team isn't successful. Like it's absolutely wild. I feel like the biggest thing for me was the branding side and wondering what I wanted to do, but understanding I've always been like I don't know if rebel is the word, but like wanting to do my own thing. Yeah. Like probably rebel is the word.
Yeah. And I think I have the same, like if it wasn't our team, would I be on a team? Probably not, just because I've I've always gone against the grain. It's not because I don't believe, and that's cost me a lot of money sometimes. Yeah. It's not like I don't love listening and working for people.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like that's when you're ready. It's like when you don't necessarily want to follow direction, whether it's good direction or bad direction.
Exactly.
Like, I think that's when emotionally you've hit a point. It's just like, go do your thing. Like, there's better things out there for you.
Yeah, and there's so many steps that should be like thought through before.
Yeah.
Like, I had felt comfortable making the jump because leads were coming in that had to do with my brand and my social media, and it was an exciting time, of course.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that try and jump ship just out of like maybe an ego or like I can make this on their own, and they haven't been doing any SOI deals, and then they're drying up in 3 months, and it's so.
Well, and I think to that point, like really quick before we go into other things, I think especially in real estate teams or like in business in general, how you treat someone on their way out is so critical. And I think we've had so many people come back to us, but like, let's say that interaction went bad with you. You wouldn't have referred your brother, a friend, and it's like, we have so many people who have come back to us because they're like, oh yeah, it was a better fit. Or it's like, they'll leave us, but they'll refer us forever because it is the best fit for a lot of people. And I'm like, there's so many people where there's so much friction at the end of a relationship. And I'm like, we've made so much money by just being like holding the door, saying like, good luck. We're here for you. So
Yeah,
I think we've done that well.
I think so too, which is a sustainable business model versus so nearsighted on the dollars that are leaving. I love it. And I mean, we've been talking about the Perry Group because I was there, and obviously you know it, but I don't think the listeners understand quite how well you guys do. So this bio is hopefully going to shed some light on that. Today's guest, Michael Perry, is the founder of the Perry Group, the #1 real estate team in Utah, and the first team in state's history to sell over 1,000 homes in a single year. This year, you guys are on pace for 1,500, which is absolutely wild. First of all, I have to rewind a little bit. When saying #1 real estate team was like kind of a maybe,
Yeah.
and now it's like second place is so far away from you guys. I think that's amazing to see what you guys have done in the last 3 years in a terrible market by a lot of people's definitions.
Terrible. 100%.
Yeah. So the Perry Group finished 19th in the country last year in all of brokerages across the entire nation. That's insane. In addition to leading a record-breaking team, Michael is an active real estate agent himself, consistently representing clients and closing high-value transactions. Over his career, he's built a reputation for excellence, from selling homes to flipping high-end properties. Outside of real estate, Michael is a proud husband to his wife, Dom, and a brand new father, recently welcoming his daughter, Scarlett, into the world. And that's why we're here, because at the end of the day, without family, without relationships, what does all of this mean, right? So
That's the first time I've heard that bio.
Really?
Yeah.
How does it feel with your daughter?
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, it gave me chills. It's I think so many emotions, like as you know, as everybody who's had a kid knows, like it all feels like a blur in the beginning, but that was a cool feeling, hearing that.
I love it. Well, I mean, it is a blur. Like that's
As you know, just as well.
yeah. Just being in the midst of it's a blur. But I mean, I'd love to hear, and we'll go into your story, the success story of the Perry Group too. But like, just while we're on this topic, how has your concept of what you want to do in business and what you want to do with your career changed since Scarlett was born?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And I honestly think when it happened, like you hear so many people be like, oh, from that day, everything changed. And I think everything has changed. But for me, it's more like emotional. Like I don't really have, I always said I worked like 40 to 50 hours a week. And then just because I worked like 6 to 7 days a week, never felt like I worked that much.
Yeah.
And so I always was like, yeah, I probably work 40 to 50. And then I like looked back at my hours. I'm like, no, I absolutely worked 80 to 90, which is a lesson for like entrepreneurs in the future. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to work 80 to 90 hours ever again in my life. So I think that's been the biggest adjustment of like, I work significantly less because I don't want to be away. And then I think the main thing that's changed is the stress levels of what like actually matters. And like, I don't mean that in a cheesy way, but like we were talking before the podcast, like I have a $2.5 million deal in Holiday where super stressful transaction. And like that is sending my heart rate through the roof typically, like pre-Scarlett. Now I'm just like, I really don't care.
What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. It's like, I got what I need. Like, sue me. Like, I'm still fine.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that's been, I think, cool for me because I was like the classic, like, anxiety would wake me up. And I don't even have crazy anxiety, but it was like, you get it. Like, real estate is tough. You wake up, like, to someone texting you. You go to sleep to someone texting you. And so for me, that used to cause a ton of anxiety. Now I'm just like, it can wait. And if you fire me, like, I'll probably ask you not to and for a little more understanding. But like at the end of the day, I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too. Feel like just recently I've adopted that mindset of if a deal falls apart, it's like, okay, like 15 grand is not going to change my life today. Just move on. Yeah. And it's freed me so much. Like it's absolutely wild. But another thing I'll say too is because your note on getting texts at 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning, just constant. Yeah. Like I feel like that almost trained me with like my schedule with a kid because I can't handle the stress and anxiety probably like you have learned to. It's been a work in progress for me. Yeah. But, like I decided that I had to, I call it win my day, the tacky version,
I love that stuff.
Andy Elliott version. But like, I realized that I had to win my day like before those texts started coming in. So I had to work out, I had to journal, I had to stretch, meditate, pray, like the things that I need to do to get my brain right. Yeah. I had to do before 8 a.m. or else I'd be like, I think that every text is so urgent. Yeah. And I still struggle with that. It's like a simple question on a transaction and my brain just thinks it has to get done. Yeah.
That's right been there. Weird to adjust to because I think I'm like in my mind, I think I'm a better agent than any other agent, but I am a worse agent than I was before having a kid. Like I struggle with that of getting a text at 8 and not responding till 9. And it's like, that's not like me setting like boundaries for my family. It's just like, I don't really have the time to respond to you that quickly. And that internally has been really hard for me. Yeah. Like there is an agent out there who's really good, who's responding at 8:02. Like, so
and
I don't know. Yeah. I don't have advice on that, but I'm like, I think we all get to the point where it's like the high enough value transactions will dictate the schedule a little more.
Which
is that a fair housing violation? I said that.
I'm not listening. But at that same time, like I used to think like communication was like one of the biggest aspects of your value, especially as like a newer agent, like that was one of my biggest value props. Just like answer as quick as possible, be there at like a drop of a hat. And as we get busier, like I have a lot of things going besides like my residential real estate business, and a kid is one of them, right? Yep. But it's, you start to realize like your value isn't responding at 8:02, but someone else out there, that is their value. And if you're weighing against the two and compare it against the other, anyways, but we could chat all about that. But I'd love to hear, I've heard this story before and I think it's a great story, just like the birth of the Perry Group. But let's even like rewind of like Michael, like where your career started in real estate. What got you into it? Like what made you choose this path?
Yeah. I was at Snow College playing football or trying to play football. That was my thing. I got hurt a second time. And so I was a sophomore at a junior college, got hurt my second time. So it's just like, give it up. Like this isn't working for you. And so this is where I feel so blessed and lucky. Like my dad was in real estate and he's like the least pressure person at all. So like this was not the classic like take over dad's business. It was like he makes decent money doing real estate and appears to have a lot of fun doing it. And he's always been a great dad. So I'm going to try it while I figure out my life. Like this definitely isn't my career by any means. And then I got in with my friend Mason, who's becoming pretty big in the development world. And we just were really good at it. And so I remember the first year of real estate, I made a ton of money. Didn't really treat it like a business, but for me, it was just like I was a really good real estate agent back then. And it felt easy like it does today. And so me, my dad, and Mason, like that's what most people don't understand is like my dad, Jack, didn't have the Perry Group. It was like we bought a Zillow lead together. And it was $1,500, and the agreement was we're going to split it 3 ways. But we all knew like Jack would probably cover it if we couldn't pay it. And we had a closing, and we were able to cover it. And then we got our first lead. It was for a $1.2 million house in Salt Lake 8 years ago, which isn't heard of. We went to that, we closed it, and we were like, we've struck gold. And so from that moment on, for like 2 years, it was just tell our friends, like, come work with us. And I think that's what really birthed the Perry Group. It was, we're going to buy Zillow leads, we're going to split it, we're going to put it on our credit card. Like there was no business plan outside of how do we afford the Zillow bill.
And now it's 7 figures, or it was prior to Flex, which is insane.
Yeah, now it's $260,000 a month paying Zillow, a company I love.
Insane.
Yeah.
Good for you. And I want to chime in on that too. The amount of people that are like, anyways, let me rewind a little bit. First of all, Jack is one of my favorite human beings in the entire world. Jack is Michael's dad. And it's just, I don't know if there's another, like, a purer soul on this planet.
100%.
Like, that's how I would describe him. Like, he is just like the real life Santa Claus and just like jolly and could never hurt a fly. Like, I love that human being. I could say that with like confidence. Like, he's just like, every time I'm around him, I feel happier. But like when people say, I think people sense nepotism in the Perry Group because your dad's involved.
Yeah.
And being involved in the Perry Group and kind of knowing the story, I'm like, guys, you don't understand. That is not what this is. Not even close to that. Like, maybe your dad made decent money, but
he was a 20 transaction agent at best.
Okay.
Yeah, before.
And I feel like you created and blew up the Perry Group. Yeah,
and it's so, like, the full life cycle, I think it is so interesting. Like, I think 2 years ago, I would have, like, there's 3 owners of the Perry Group. It's me, my brother Johnny, and my dad Jack. 2 years ago, I think I absolutely would have given myself credit. Because I would have been like, I closed a ton of real estate. You could almost tie every single person we brought through the doors to me recruiting them somehow through someone. But I think as like time goes on, like that's a really not greedy way of thinking, but like how you described him as like the purest soul, I'm like, hey, Dad, we don't run a charity. Like, would you stop? And so I think like 2 years ago, it would have been like, yeah, this is me. And then I think as I sit here today, I'm like, no, he probably was what allowed the Perry Group to explode from a culture standpoint. And then maybe I was the business standpoint. And then like today, I'm like, your brother is clearly the most important one out of the three of us. Yeah, who keeps it together. And I think that's a really cool, like so often partnerships explode because of who has the value. And it's funny because like one of the biggest names in Utah, I'm not going to name him, but I shook his hand. It's like, it's so cool what your dad built. And I just go with the story. I'm like, yeah, it's epic. But I don't feel the need to be defensive because my dad has never, ever made us feel like that. And he's never said, hey, look at the company I built.
I love that. And I probably worded that wrong and that you single-handedly did it. I just don't like, just like that conversation. It's like Michael helped build this. This wasn't his dad's business type thing. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Because, like seeing kind of behind the blinders of the Perry Group, you guys each have a strong value stance, like genuinely.
Well, and that's what's interesting. Like, and I don't think you said it wrong at all. It's like, it's interesting looking at the three of us. There's 200 plus people in the Perry Group today. And whoever you have a closer relationship with, it appears that's who's built it.
Yeah.
And so I think for us, we kind of just all roll with it. It's like, yeah, he built it. He built it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Your brother is one of the smartest human beings I've ever talked to. Like that.
We're different people.
Dude, you guys are all
half the brain cells he does.
You guys are all different. And so like, which is rare. I feel like your dad and your brother, which is I think the reason why you guys can build a successful company is you guys all have your different values that you bring to the table. And so I love it. Well, okay. So you closed your first lead. When do you feel like was the moment where you're like, maybe we, the Perry Group, can close 1,000 transactions in a single year, which no team had done up to that point?
Yeah, you just started doing the numbers of, like, I remember the first time it felt like a business. I went to my old assistant's house, like, on a Wednesday night, and we wrote the business model, a pretty similar business model that we have today on paper. And it was like, all right, we have 20 agents. Like, we're now messing with people's lives if we don't do this right. And so I think like from that time in 2018, it was like, all right, we got to take this really serious. And then from 2018 to probably 2021, it was just like, we were that classic team. It was like, we doubled or tripled our business every year. And we were a one office team only in Sugar House, which is a suburb of Salt Lake. And it was like, we have 80 agents. Like, we can't keep, we need other offices. And so I think when we brought in other offices and then staff, that was the first time it was like, we were actually going to hit this and we're going to smash it if we can just duplicate what we have in other cities. And at that point, we didn't know if we could.
And that was a wild time. Yeah. I mean, I was part of that transition into the Pleasant Grove office, and that was so fun. Like, just building that up with, I think there was 5, 7 of us at the beginning. Yeah. And now there's 40 at least?
I think there's like 60.
Oh my 65. Gosh.
Yeah.
See, that's insane.
Yeah.
So sick. Talk to me about your partnership with Reel. I mean, I started at Reel. I haven't left Reel. I probably biased. It's been great for me, but talk to me about the importance. of that?
I think it's just like anything in business, and I think like going super specific, like in the brokerage world, I think it's just super important to, it goes to our conversation in the very beginning, like there's no restrictions at Real. Like there's nobody with an iron sword like saying, don't do this, don't do this. And I think for us, the exec team, who I know personally super well, has been a catalyst in our growth, which I think is super rare. Like most of the time it's, hey, how can you make us money? The brokerage is terrified to have you leave. And then I think just the model for like the stock, the revenue share, I think it just makes it easier to retain. Like I just got $16,000 in stock 3 days ago, which like by no means is going to rock my world, but it's going to make that decision harder to leave. And I think like that is something all businesses should look at when you're looking to keep people. And like, if you're not going to do it through a public company, like, can you do retention plays through long-term bonuses that keep your people?
Is that just elite agent that you're discussing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so many different avenues of Real that get me excited about it. But just for the listeners, like, especially if you're not super involved in real estate, the Perry Group operates under a brokerage, a cloud brokerage, we'll call it, which I think is great that we can even do that and pass on a lot of the liability to a brokerage and just focus on building a team, which you guys have done a great job of. But yeah, I mean, the stock plan has been amazing.
Yeah.
I think there's very little people that 10% of a check is going to like change your life in that instant. And so if you can throw that at discounted stock, it just builds, and it's been super fun to see. And then the rev share, like, especially for people, like I make content. That's just part of my business model, and it's natural. I don't have to feel like I'm recruiting. I don't have to feel like I'm like, where I feel like EXP kind of has that culture, right? But it's allowed me to just stay in my lane and get rewarded for just doing what I'm doing. And it's been great.
Yeah. And I always say, like, whether you're at Real EXP or like, we honestly get asked a lot from like companies outside of real estate, like how have we recruited out mass? So it's like, if you're really good at what you do, and then I think you do what you do, you're creating content, that is the easiest recruiting and retention play. It's like, don't go hire a recruiter. Like, just be really good, and then like tell the world you're good at it, and naturally you're going to get some DMs. Yeah,
I love it. Talk to me about your personal real estate business. I'd love to hear just into the weeds, because I know you're going the luxury market, right? And especially Salt Lake. You have your area code or your zip codes that you love too.
Like 7 of them.
Yeah. But talk to me about like how you've grown the business that you do today. And then maybe a follow-up question to that too. If someone's starting out, they're in their first few months, like what advice would you have to them? I know I'm bombarding you, but let's start with what your business looks like and how you've built your personal business to be what it is today.
Yeah, I think for me, my business is majority luxury transactions. And I think that just comes from being in the game long enough. And then I think I've done what you've done in your world, where it's like, I am really going to focus. Like, it appears from my world, you're focusing on like seller finance and investing. Mm-hmm. And I was always really scared to say, I'm a luxury real estate agent and I sell in like 5 areas. Cause I'm like, well, what if someone from Daybreak or Draper has a $2 million home and wants to call me? And I think the second I turn that to like, no, from Cottonwood Heights to the Avenues, I believe I know it better than anyone. And I know it better than anyone. I have the contacts, and I could go on why I think I'm the agent for that area. But I think what's that has done is it's created a ton of referral business and super high trust from the people who live in those areas, where like I was really scared to localize that heavily just because there's not a ton of homes, there's not a ton of transactions. So that's worked out super well. And then I think to your first answer or your first question of like, what advice would you give? I did this by accident, but I would do the open houses, the cold calling that everyone and their mom tells you to do. But I'd be like really specific about the real estate you want to sell. And like, as you've done it, as I've done it, like, don't cast a super crazy wide net. Like, find a way, like find the real estate you love and find a way to work probably 60 to 80 hours. And like, you're going to get a hit.
Yeah.
I think you have so many people who like diversify and the net is so big. And it's like, I see you from Provo to Ogden. Like, why would I want to hire you in Daybreak kind of thing?
And I think, yeah, part of what I've been working on lately in my self-development chase is I'm realizing that I need to try and become the best in the world at something. Even if that's like hyper local, like you are the best in the world at selling real estate at let's say $1 million plus, whatever it is, in these area codes. And when you are the best in the world at something, people will come.
Totally.
Like you will be fed. And I think that scarcity mindset is really easy to flood in, exactly like you said, of, well, what about my aunt that has a condo? And but I think that long-term vision is crucial for people to think about.
Yeah, and it's like, I love what you said about the area example. Like I think people, the self-chase, working on yourself, because it's like, I think me and you, we wake up every day and like we look at Ryan Serhant or Aaron Kerman or like, and that's just like real estate only. And these people, Aaron now sells all over the world. Ryan now sells the whole East Coast. And so for us, it's like, well, they don't. They're casting their net giant. But like everyone who's been successful, and that's where I really changed my mind. It was like, no, they were unbelievable. The best in the world, like you just said, at selling New York City and then Beverly Hills. And then like it does translate. So when your aunt calls you with the $200,000 condo, they're still going to call you. And I think that was like I'm not saying I only sell, but it's like I am going to tell you that these are theirs better than.
Well, I feel like I'm a prime example of that too, where like I'm going to oust myself here, but because I've been in the investment game in the I've been in the investment game for like 7-8 years, and I've been obsessed with that world for that time. And my passion hopefully shines through in my content. It's because I literally live and breathe it. And now seller finance the last 3 years has become the next angle of the investment world. But the amount of people that trust me more as an agent is wild. And it's not, I would not consider myself one of the best agents in Utah. I wouldn't even want to pretend to be that, because I think that's not my angle here. Like my angle is I'm obsessed with the investment world. I'm obsessed with real estate in general. And it's been that part. So just to kind of further what you were saying is, they do come because they see that you're really good at something in the real estate space, and they're going to come. So, but like, we haven't even talked about the flipping aspect of Michael. Like we talked about the Perry Group, which is obviously doing insane things right now. We've talked about your personal real estate business, but we haven't talked about your luxury flipping. And I feel like that's been a big part of your business. Like, speak to me about that. Like, where is that today? What has it been like? How'd you get into it?
I haven't talked about this for a while. let's see where. So I flipped. I think I've done like 25, 22 flips now, and they've all been like majority high end. This is actually a really cool story. So the first house my wife and I ever bought, her dad is an amazing architect. And so he drew us these crazy plans to do an addition. We were, I think, 23 and had, like in my mind, a ton of money. We probably had like $120,000 in a bank account. And I was selling so much real estate. And he drew us these plans. We demoed the interior of our house, like super stupid move. And then we started getting contractor quotes. And so they were all like $500,000 to do what these plans were. And we were like, we can't do that. And so we hired 2 separate contractors to just do like the interior shell, and they took our money. And so we wrote, it was a $15,000 check and a $20,000 check, and like nothing crazy, but I think it was the back-to-back experiences of having a contractor who was recommended take our money. And they still work in the area, which is crazy. And so that experience forced us to know the drywaller, to know the plumber. Because I was like, we can't afford, we can't do this a third time. And so that's what got us into understanding the construction piece. And then I think that's what created the spark. My wife and her sister have an interior design firm now, which has been so cool to watch. That's a completely separate thing.
They're insanely good too.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're not side gig type interior designers. They are insanely good at what they do.
And so that's cool. Like that's what was the birth of having a passion for design. And so I think we finished that house, and then a year later we bought our first flip. But when we got into the luxury flips, I just saw a market that was, hey, you have these people buying these $2 to $3 million homes in Eastside Salt Lake. They're surgeons, jazz players, Utah football coach. But there's nobody like flipping these homes. Like they're just sellers who spend a ton of money and then they eventually sell. And so I'm a huge believer in like hyper local real estate, being really good at a couple things. And we've hit the jackpot on some flips in our area just because it's like, I know exactly what the buyer wants. I've sold these homes time and time again. And so we'd buy a house that has a shell. My wife would design it, and the profits were pretty big along the way.
Which, yeah, pretty big is probably an understatement.
Yeah.
Like, you guys have cleared 7 figures on a couple of them.
Yeah.
Which
which for a flip, everyone's like, it's funny online because I've done a couple podcasts and they're like, you scam artists, like show the numbers. It's like, all right, show the numbers.
The internet's gonna internet.
Yeah. I
love it. What's your plan? Like we talked about this a little bit before the podcast, but now that Scarlett's here, now that you're like, the family life is real. I always say like, you get married and you guys are both kind of like, you don't need much, right? And it flows. And then when you have a kid, your perspective changes overnight. What is like the 10-year plan for Michael? Like let's break that down into like your 10-year plan, the Perry Group, your residential business, and flipping.
Yeah, I think we'll start with the Perry Group. I think that's been really cool. Like I'm definitely not removed from it, but it's significantly less work and than it used to be. Like that was a majority of my time, a majority of my stress. So I think for us I'm just a believer still, like in local. And I don't know if we'll ever go out of the state, but I do think we'll take more market share. We'll open more offices all across the state. I think for me, like what I'm passionate about right now is I think my sales career, which is so weird to think about. Like I think most of the time you hear people who are really good at real estate, like go start a company or a team, and then like they made enough money to go run some other business. And I think I've definitely gone through that cycle, but I think I'm at the point in my career where it's like which is so cool. Like the biggest names in Utah are now calling me to help them buy or sell. And it's like my closest competition is 44 years old. And so for me, it's like these.
Who is that?
Just a real estate agent. Like,
okay.
Yeah, there's like 5 to 10 real estate agents, and they're all 45 to 70 years old. And so I think for me, I really think I can be the top agent in Salt Lake. And then I think that's going to translate to Park City just inherently. And I just want to work less. And I think I have the ability to control my schedule through luxury sellers and buyers because they understand time, I think, more than anyone.
I love that.
Hopefully it works out.
Yeah. I mean, that is so true. Like what you said, luxury buyers will understand. Usually they've gotten to their point for a reason and they understand business maybe at a different level. Yeah. Which in my head, I'm just like, why am I working with, that's so bad to say, but I have two parts of my business. I have my residential, traditional buyers and sellers, and then I have people I help find deals for, whether it's off market, on market. And I started in that investment world, and that's what I'm used to. Yeah. When there's almost zero emotion that you're dealing with, because if the numbers make sense, cool. Yeah. If not, back out on to the next. Yeah. And that's probably been the biggest transition for me. And like being an agent is working on the other side of that coin. And I've gotten better for sure. As I'm sure you've learned throughout your years. Yeah. But I mean, it's not for me to say, like, they're spending $500,000, $600,000 on a first time home. Mm-hmm. I can understand why there's emotion involved. Yeah. So,
yeah, that's so hard. And I always tell the story, like we flip houses with like a family it's a billionaire family. And exactly like what you said just struck a chord, which is like why I'm adamant I'm going to work with luxury buyers and sellers. But like this guy would call me from New York City or Yellowstone Club in Montana. And he would call me like not to talk to me or to give me advice, but to ask for my advice on real estate in Utah regarding flips. And there'd be that amount of trust, like, hey, tell me a date and I'll wire the money. And then I would get on a phone call at 10 p.m. where like I would leave my wife to take that phone call for a first-time buyer who wouldn't listen to me. And I think that was so funny for a long time. And now it's like, I'm just not going to do that anymore. Like, I'm not going to say that I think I'm the best. And this is so egotistical, but like, if you're not going to listen to me, I'm expensive. So
100%.
Listen to me or we're not going to work together. And like, not in an empathetic way. Like, just like you said, I can understand why you think the stakes are high. But just because you think the stakes are high doesn't mean that you should go listen to your aunt who sells one home every 3 years. And it's like, if you're going to listen to your aunt, then we're not a good fit kind of thing.
The uncle that comes to the inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Well, I love what you said too, especially like with this NAR lawsuit. For the audience that isn't in our industry or hasn't heard of that, there's a $500 million lawsuit that struck our industry for the better. Like in my opinion, It's been great. And I think the whole concept behind it is steering commissions and not viewing buyer's agents as free. And that to me has been bliss, because we aren't free.
No.
We are expensive if you don't trust our expertise, if you don't hire us for a specific reason. And the aunt that sells one home is going to seem like they're the off-brand Cartier at the New York freaking.
Yeah.
It's wild, right? Yeah. And so it's been a lot easier for me to communicate my value. And I think I don't think it has definitely been a net positive for my business specifically. But with that being said, you are paying for the service. And if you as an agent, if you're an agent and you're not trying to master your craft, if you're not trying to become an expert in something, you're going to fizzle.
Yes.
And the Michael Perrys of this world are going to be licking their chops. And, but that's one other side piece I'll say before I turn it back to the spotlight. Posting content and building a brand has been monumental in getting people in my business that trust me and my expertise. Yeah. And I think like the Perry Group has done that in all their ways, the thousands of yard signs out there that like seriously, like it's hard to drive through a neighborhood and not see a Perry Group sign, which is insane. Yeah. So props to you guys on that. But that's probably been the coolest part of my business is when the majority of people already trust me that I help, my life becomes so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. So much easier. And I think like looking at your business, like I think the worst thing, like you don't want to hear that you were referred because like, hey, this is my friend. It's like you're referred to Tanner because he's really, really, really good at what he does. You're referred to Michael because in his market, in his area, he's really, really good at what he does. And like you've heard me from a team meeting setting, like and I think you have to be like so aware right now of what's happening in the world. Like I would preach, like I've been on stages across the country saying you should know the data better than anyone. It's like overnight, that doesn't matter anymore. Like if you went to Yale, cool. Like, and that's not to like take anything away from education. Like I'm not going to go down that argument, but I can't tell people I know the data that's more important. It's like in your world, like, yes, it's seller financing, but then it's like what lawyers, contractors, writing the contracts, how does it happen? Like telling someone you know more than the other agent is like just a chat GPT search away. And I love what you said of like fizzling, because it's like that's genuinely kind of why I've changed my business. I'm like, I don't think knowing more than anyone is like an asset anymore. It's like my contact base that trusts me to go get that house ready is now more important than data, kind of thing.
It's an insane world. Like I genuinely, well, it should be a fact now that AI is going to disrupt every single industry, like without a shadow of a doubt. But where do you think the market's going?
Real estate market?
Yeah.
I'm going to speak on strictly residential. Utah, from like a nation standpoint, I think is better positioned than, like, I would argue we might be better positioned than anybody besides like a coastal, like Florida Gables or Beverly Hills, like where it's like there's always going to be money. So I think we're really safe, and I'm a long-term believer. And I'm also a really long-term believer in the luxury market because more money's coming here. That's never been here. I'm a big believer in Salt Lake City, what Ryan Smith is doing downtown, think the government is pretty open-minded here. But for the housing market, I think we have one more year of, this is just my take, but I think the prices will break if interest rates don't come down. But it kind of looks like they're coming down. So I don't think we're at 13,500 homes this morning. We'll be at 18 next year, which is above '08 if interest rates don't come down. And I don't think we can go there. But we're safe. But like from a real estate market as a nation, no, I don't think we're at an affordability crisis, and eventually it's going to be a crisis.
Yeah.
In my mind. What's your take?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the reality is no one ever knows, right? Yeah. But of course I have an opinion, and I study and nerd out on my opinion. I think that there is a cusp of interest rates where things need to be at for buyers to move, and I think that's 5.99.
I agree.
We saw it for one day in 2024 or 10 days, and it was the most mortgage applications since the COVID era.
Yeah.
But on that same note, if that doesn't happen,
yeah,
I think winter is going to be
winter.
Oh, winter.
Yeah.
And for people that are prepared, it's like, I'm not necessarily like burning the ship over it. But I do think there will be a correction. And do I think there probably should be a correction? I think so. Some version. But if rates drop to, 5.99 is the number I've set in my head. Yeah. I'm not a Yale graduate analyst, but
and I agree with you. I think like your world is way more than mine of like the long-term investment. And it's like, it is statistically really hard to argue Utah's a bad place
100%.
To own real estate. Like, especially the entry level, like I get an argument all day. But I think you nailed it. And I think like to shed some light internally, we see more contracts than anyone in the state of Utah.
100%.
And when interest rates lower, like that's what, so, and I wish we could like tell the world, or at least our buyers, but it's like activity. Like if you just come to our team meeting, we are probably a great barometer of how the market's doing, because it's like pre-approval skyrocket, buyer offers skyrocket. And for me, it's like, if you stay low sixes, anything low sixes or lower, like the rental payment versus house payment gets close enough. Right now, it's like, I mean, it's gotten a little better, but It was like, if you can rent a $600,000 home, it's $2,000 cheaper than what your mortgage would be right now, which is so cool with what you do with seller finance, and that avoids some of that. Like in my world, I don't touch that. Yeah. It's like, I'm only telling people buy because they love the house. Like,
yeah, and I love that you said that. Buy if you love the house, and it makes sense for you financially today, not tomorrow, not in 6 months if rates drop to 5%. Like I think the first year of this rates doubling, that was the spiel for agents. Yeah. Oh, buy and refinance next year. Well, 3 years in, it's not so pretty on that front.
I said, and I think this is really good. And it's like, I let him know this could happen, so I'm not like ashamed of it. But I just had a buyer lose $80,000 because they bought and sold in 8 months. And I think they got talked into their friends that buying real estate is a good investment, which is an unbelievable investment over time. But 8 months is not a good investment.
Short term is never.
Yeah.
Like,
and so he got hammered with some things, assessments, and then he had to sell in 8 months later, and he lost $80,000.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the reality. When people say, I'm in town for 2 years for school, I want to buy.
Go rent.
The first thing I say is, if you think you're going to be here 2 years and this is an investment vehicle for you, there are a lot better ways to park your money.
Go play with Robinhood.
Yeah, go play with Robinhood. And I think people learn to trust you too. I think it goes to show, like, I feel like you do a great job of this in your business, and so do I, is if you are the subject expert and you tell the truth and there's ethics behind you, which I think people can read pretty well, your business is going to be evergreen, in my opinion. And it's funny that you say that, if you love the house, because I do a lot of seller finance. I do not do seller financing for primary buyers. And that's the exact reason, because if numbers look good, cool. Do you like the house? Okay, so now this game of tug of war, back and forth of, oh, here's the one house out of 1,000 that has a 5% interest rate in a 7-year balloon.
Yeah.
Does your wife like the ceiling height? Does she like the white picket fence? Does she like and it's almost always no, right? Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, I'm speaking too much today, but you know more than anyone, if you can afford the house today, and you like the house.
Yeah. Well, and I think this like dialogue's been fun because it's two very like, we probably see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we're in the same business, but like we're not remotely in the same business at all. And we're saying like very similar.
Yeah. Which is, that is funny.
It's good for people to hear, because I think a lot of people from the outside think I'm scam or you're scam.
Yeah.
Like, whatever side you're on, if you're investment or not, you're scam.
100%. Yeah. Well, they also probably think that, oh, Michael's a real estate agent, Tanner's a real estate agent, we do the same things.
Yeah.
Even if you like magnify into our real estate businesses, like your residential and my residential, they are vastly, vastly different. I would not even consider you my competition, which other people probably see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like a little additional point to that, the top commercial agent in Utah, or at least in Salt Lake, their team, I'm helping them sell development condos. And they're like, hey, we want you to sell the land in the event you can't sell, or in the event these townhomes don't pencil. And I was like, I don't sell land. Like, that is someone else's world. And I'm sure I could learn that and it wouldn't be that hard. But it's like almost every residential agent sells land and homes and whatever.
And commercial, like, probably.
Yeah. And I'm like, I would rather just not. Like, I don't want to research to be good at another thing. It's like, no, that could be, that one would be a $200,000 paycheck. But I'm like, could also be a $200,000 lawsuit if I do them wrong, kind of thing.
Well, also like, just diluting your brand. Yes, I think, which a lot of people think so like short-sighted of, oh, here's $200,000 in front of me. But I think that's a great example, Michael, of like, there are so many stick a yard sign in the front of the house agents. And those agents would take that listing 10 out of 10 times. Yeah. I can't say that I wouldn't take that listing. Like, geez, but we're in different worlds. And that's a great example to me too, of just like long-term. So dude, we've been cruising through the time, but my last my last question that I want to ask you, and you're new to this game, which I think gives you an even fresher perspective of this. But there's a lot of people in Utah that want to keep family in like a priority, but they also want to kill it in the business world. I ask every single one of my guests this question. What advice and maybe what have you learned in like the first few months of Scarlett's life, of like what you want to do with your world to treat both of them serious?
That's such a good question. I don't even know if I'm going to give advice. I think I'm just going to tell a story. So like, and I haven't told this story to anyone but my mom. So I was like classic great husband. Week 1, I was home not doing anything. And then week 2, I went back to work. Like, 80, 90 hours back to work. And my wife was like, hey, like, this is fine. Like, I support it, but this isn't what we talked about. And like, I need to know if this is what life looks like. And that for me was like, that broke me from like, do I really want Scarlett to know me as like someone who puts food on the table and is gone? And so I think it's so hard. Like, for me, it's not hard to be gone, but it's like, I think just telling everybody that it's not easy at all, trying to figure it out. Like, you have so many people who are like, yeah, I'm a family man, I work. And it's like, no, that is basically the tension in our house right now is like, you're chasing paychecks that you don't necessarily have to. And I think that's the advice I would give, is have that open dialogue with your family. And Dom is like the most supportive, go out and work wife that I know. But I think it was really cool and special to be able to have that dialogue of like, hey, you can go do it, but it's going to come at a cost if you don't pay attention. So I think that's my advice. Like,
Yeah, that's powerful.
Pay attention. Like, don't wake up with a 2-year-old who knows your mom way better than your dad. And that, like, I'm traditional. Like, that's a given. That's going to happen. But like, can I be a little more intentional to be at home when I can? So that's my advice.
It's powerful. And I'll say too that people that have built businesses and that have been used to working, it's easier to default to that.
Yes.
When your baby comes. A baby is a lot of responsibility. It's a new, fresh territory that is stressful. It is like so much going on. It's uncomfortable because you're adjusting to it, and working feels like so much easier. So that's
I love that. Like, and that's what I think I felt, because the first two, and I did not mean to cut you off, but I think that's so powerful. Like, the first, like the week I went like back to work, I was like, my life is awesome. Like, I have a newborn, I have a kid, my wife's happy. And then like, I think it was Sunday night where she was like, and it was like a calm conversation where it was just like, just pay attention. Like, we've talked about being a family who will raise our kids and be present. And like, you go down this roadmap, that's not what happens. But I went back because it was like, having a kid's not easy. Working's pretty easy in my mind. So I love that.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's what you'd think it's, and that's just like another, like, showing grace to the mothers of this world. It's like 2 hours of mental energy of just me and the baby versus 10 hours of a work day.
Yeah.
It, like, the baby is exhausting, and I can cruise through a work day. No problems. Right. So, the mothers in this world are a crucial part of life, and thankful for Morgan. And I know Dom is an amazing human being too. So,
so I have such an appreciation for moms now. And I think the judgmental culture of how you raise a kid or how you do this or how a mom does this, like, it's so weird to me. Once you have a kid, it's just like, they have such a tough job, and like, each one has such a crazy different experience, and like, husband and wife are just trying to figure this thing out.
Exactly. Well, I'm right there with you, dude, trying to figure it out, but I appreciate you jumping on. I learned a lot today, and I'm wishing you the best of luck in your endeavors, and I know you're going to continue to kill it, dude.
Right back at you. Seriously, it's been a really fun conversation.
Thanks, dude.